So guys, I will show you a video that I tried to make a modification to my exhaust of my Africa Twin CRF1100 cubic. It's the model from 22 until 2023. Maybe you don't know. In case you don't know, I will give you some information. There is a special valve inside the silencer of the factory exhaust, and this valve has two clutches. No clutches. Let's say has two gear cables. So the more you open the throttle, the gear cables change the position of the valve. So the valve in let's say 2500 RPM is almost closed, and the more throttle you give to your motorcycle, the more wide open will the valve become. Supposedly at let's say 5000 RPMs, I don't know, Honda knows, the valve is wide full open. So the benefits according to Honda is the better exhaust noise to low RPMs and the better performance in high RPMs. Usually the manufacturers that use this system claim different things. They claim better torque in low RPM and full horsepower in wide open throttle. Honda doesn't claim about better torque in low RPM. Honda claims only about better noise in low RPM and better performance in high RPM. Okay, better performance is just logic, it's logical, because the valve is wide open, so the silencer is like, let's say, has not a valve anymore. Okay, so I had a colleague with a CRF1100, the same model with me. I've got a 2020 model, but okay, all the models are the same. No matter if it's Adventure Sport, no matter if it's the simple model, the exhaust is the same. And he bought a Remus, a silencer from Remus, and he feel a huge difference, but the noise was unaffordable for her wife. So his wife told him, please put back the original silencer by Honda. He liked so much the performance of Remus exhaust that decided to make a modification and to change the exhaust valve. That means not to change, to cancel the exhaust valve. So no matter how many RPMs the engine has, it's like the valve, it doesn't exist at all in the silencer. So it's a very, very small modification. You can see after this video that I am talking how I did it. You just need an Allen key. You just need an 80mm hexagon key, and that's all. And a small pair of pliers to cancel the cables. In case that you don't like the modification, of course, it's not irreversible. You can reverse back to the factory conditions. So the whole point is not about how to do it. It's very, very easy, and my video is not so much analytic, but okay, it's idiot proof. If you open the cap of the small device that are inside the endings of the cables, you will understand how to do it. This video is about my subjective feelings after I did the modification. So my colleague told me, oh, it's another bike, it's perfect, I wide open the throttle from 120 kilometers, and it's like the Africa Twin likes to do a wheelie. I see huge improvement in performance, so try it. I was very skeptical because I know all the system like Yamaha's X-Up started for a better torque at the low end and the full power at the high RPM range. Then I read the press kit of Africa Twin back in 2020 when the Honda released the bike and gave a press kit to the journalist. And Honda, once again, I will reply myself, never claimed about torque. So I was very skeptical, but it's a zero cost modification. It's reversible, so you can reverse it back in case that you don't like it. So I decided to do just for fun and just for knowledge. Frankly speaking, if you like to be a detailer, you have to put on a dyno bench your Africa Twin before the modification and after the modification to see the difference in performance and in horsepower and torque at the low to mid RPMs, and maybe, for me it's not possible, the difference in the high RPMs. For me it's not possible because in the high RPMs the valve of the exhaust, of the factory exhaust, will be wide open. But my colleague told me that the valve in the fully wide exhaust doesn't open. That means he take a camera or he look like that inside the factory exhaust and open the throttle full, and he told me that the valve was opened about 3 out of 4, not 4 out of 4. That means wide open. Maybe the cables was not in good condition, maybe there were a small rust in the device that open and close the tap of the valve, let's say, of the exhaust. I don't know. I never gave so much importance to my valve. I just do it actually without 2 meter to a dyno bench before and after, so it's wrong. But it's waste for money for me because maybe you gain 1.5 horsepower, but actually if you gain 1.5 horsepower in this range of RPM, you're gonna lose some torque at the low end. Anyway, this is classic mechanical standards. What you gain, what you yield in the high RPM range, you will lose it from the low RPM range to torque and maybe horsepower. So my subjective feelings after a 55 motorcycle have already changed, and maybe half million kilometers, but means that I'm a little bit experienced, is this: the engine brake is less than the factory exhaust with the valve. Also, the gap at 2500 with the throttle closed when you go at a road that is with a great huge descent, a huge descent, like let's say 10-12% descent. You have maybe remarked that below there is a path hole at 2500 RPMs that starts to do a brake, the engine, and then a release, a brake and then a release. This is that the valve open and close, and also if you downshift, you listen to a bam, bam, like a misfiring, but it's very, very attractive to my ears and maybe your ears. Of course, now the misfiring, it's, how can I say, it's a little bit, maybe more than a little bit, disappeared. There is also a misfiring, but not, so perfect for me because I like the misfirings. But the engine brake now it's more smooth. Let's say it's more fluent. It's not like it has a gap at 2500 RPMs. Of course, there is again a gap. Maybe it's by the fuel mapping. Of course, it's by the fuel mapping, but gap because the motorcycle runs out of fuel. Sorry, it's Euro 5, Euro 5 standard. This is the reason that runs out of fuel at lower RPMs. But okay, it's better. When I try to accelerate, let's say from the 4000 RPM and up, and I make my hand to wide open the throttle, then I don't feel so much acceleration like before. That means for me the acceleration is not so much. Now, let's try to explain you theoretically with mechanical terminology. Mechanical engineer terminology, what happened? When you close the throttle, the valve close, no matter if you, because you have 4000 RPM, but the valve try to close, but there are some exhaust, from the exhaust, leave the valve a little bit open, but not full open, okay? So, when you again decide to accelerate, and you ask the full power, the gases are prisoned inside the silencer, so the torque, that particular time, it's in a bigger amount if you compare it with an exhaust like mine after the modification, because when you close the throttle there is not valve, so the gases all goes out normally, so the back pressure of the gases is not stayed inside the silencer, and when you wide open the throttle there is not so much gas inside the silencer, so the first 1-2 seconds of acceleration it's not so, let's say, active. Later, more or less it's the same, because the valve will after all open in the first condition with the factory silencer, and also it's already wide open with modified silencer, but I told you how easy it is to do it, that modification. And what else can I say? May I have to add something? Okay, about the noise. He told me the noise is magnificent, blah blah blah. Okay, it's his point of view. For me, yes, it changed, but now the noise, okay, it's a little bit louder. But it's not so bass. So if you're, let's say, to the traffic lights and waiting for the green light, you listen to more decibels, but less worse quantity of decibels, worse quantity of less vibes, less feelings. So Africa Twin has one of the best exhaust in the market. It's like, let's say, the Harley Davidson of adventure motorcycles. Now we listen more decibels, but not with that song. Maybe I can say that song of the exhaust when it goes with the valve. It's very subjective, because the noise is very subjective, and everybody has different perception of noise. For example, some guys say, oh, it's 4-cylinder, perfect, I like it. For me, actually, I hate 4-cylinder engines. I don't like, not engines, the sound of the engine. But anyway, definitely, if you go with a decibel meter and count the decibels, you will find bigger prices, bigger amounts of decibels, but the quantity is different. For me, it's not so good. The song of the exhaust, to my ears, it's much worse. Okay, that's it. So, what was my 5 cents of this subjective review? And also, again, without a dyno bench, you can never be sure, because I say different things and my colleague say different things. And now let's dive why we both say different things. First of all, it's a perception and it's very subjective. We are not dyno benches. Second, this is a movement part, a movement device, and the movement device is sometimes affected by rust. So if you was offering your motorcycle, maybe his device was a little bit blocked, so when the guys tried to open the device, that means to open the valve, it took more time. So for him, he maybe realized a difference. My device, my mechanism of the factory exhaust, with my hands is very easy to rotate, but he told me that when he tried to rotate with his hands the device of the factory exhaust, it was very difficult for him. Both, of course, have eject the cables. That means now the device is on the air, so there is not resistant. Neither resistant, just a little bit, a small coil, a very, very small coil. He told me, for me it was very, very difficult to rotate. I didn't notice something like this. At my exhaust it was very, very easy. So maybe this is the reason that he saw that difference. So you can write a modification, and after leave your comments to the comment section down below and tell me your opinion. Thank you for watching my video. Now you will see a very small video about 1 minute how I did that modification. Thank you. See you on the next video. Bye bye.
Καλά, λοιπόν, έλα πράξουμε τις δίσεις εδώ, CRF, για να δούμε αν μπορεί να παραμείνει μόνιμα ανοιχτό.
Αν έχει ελαττήριο που το κρατάει.
Δεν θα παραμείνει.
Θα παραμείνει. Αν δεν έχει. Από ό,τι φαίνεται έχει ελαττήριο και θα το πάει προς το ανοιχτό.
Ναι. Άρα έχει δίκιο ο φίλος μας. Που έλεγε ότι ανοίγει μόνιμα.
Ναι, αλλά είπε ότι όταν ανοίξει το διακόπτη ανοίγει. Δεν παίζει αυτό.
Όχι. Τώρα βρεις μπροστά. Πώς θα ανοίξει. Με τον κινητήρα.
Και όσο μαρσάρεις, αυτό όσο στροφές ανεβάζει, τόσο μεταβάλλει την κίνηση.
Λοιπόν, θα κάνουμε ένα βίντεο, το άνοιξα. Λοιπόν, έλα παιδιά. Ναι, έχουμε εδώ την Άφρικα 1100. Αυτή έχει ένα στρεβοκινητήρα, ο οποίος είναι εδώ μέσο κινητήρας, να σας τον δείξουμε. Δεν φαίνεται. Δείξε ρε φαν λίγο με το δάχτυλο από τη παρακαλώ. Μπράβο. Είναι εκεί μέσα. Εντάξει, ο οποίος έχει κανένα κιλό βάρος, μπορεί και παραπάνω. Έχει δύο ντίζες και οι ντίζες ουσιαστικά ανοιγοκλίνουν ένα κλαπέτο. Εδώ οι ντίζες ουσιαστικά αυτό το μετακινούν αυτοκοχλία. Έγινε. Και εδώ βλέπετε πίσω ότι κάτω είναι μόνιμα ανοιχτό και πάνω όταν είναι σβηστό είναι πάντα ένα κλαπέτο κλειστό. Τώρα δεν φαίνεται φυσικά. Καλώς την. Are you right? Έλα εδώ. Τι κάνεις, είσαι καλά? Μπράβο, περίμενε. Λοιπόν, βάλε ρε λίγο το φακό μέσα. Βάλε το φακό. Φαίνεται το κλαπέτο. Για να δούμε. Τέλος πάντων. Όχι, δεν φαίνεται ρε Φάνη. Όχι, ούτε με το φακό.
Όχι,
Για βάλε
μπροστά
μπροστά.
για να δουλέψει.
Α, είναι κλειστό, ναι. Τώρα είναι κλειστό.